Oi boys, welcome to another video on the channel. We're already in round 7, but before we get to that, let's take a look at the round 6 results. Now we went 4 from 8, which brings our total to 26 out of 48. A bit meh to be honest. As for Oddski's Bakery, 3 of the lads bagged the meat pies: Cone Hess, Jaden Campbell and Ed Gossie. A couple upsets, a couple beatdowns. As for this week's games, it's actually been a pretty hectic season, especially with how unpredictable it is. But yeah, let's take a gaze at the round ahead. So for the first game of the week, we have another Wayne Bennett Cup for your Thursday night. The Redcliffe Dolphins host the South Sydney Rabbitohs at Suncorp Stadium. Both teams coming off massive wins in the previous round. The Dolphins, under strength, upset the Cowboys in Townsville, and the Rabbitohs, they dropped 50 on the Bulldogs. In terms of ins and outs, the Dolphins will be missing Jared Wallace. The Rabbitohs, Devita Totolo. As for the ins, the Dolphins, they welcome back Jesse Bromwich, and it'll be Robert Jennings taking the wing spot, pushing Eddie Lee out of the 17. For the Bunnies, Alex Johnston reclaims his spot on the left wing. Also, Jai Arrow jumps straight back into the middle. He'll be replacing Devita Totolo. As for my pick, I low-key want to take the Finns at home and back them to grind one out, but I think the class of Damien Cook, Latrell Mitchell, Cody Walker, Cameron Murray, they're starting to catch their stride. Yes, the Bulldogs were undermanned last week, but sometimes whooping on a lesser opponent is just the pick-me-up you need to string a few wins together. I reckon they won't lose a step with someone like Jai Arrow returning back to the middle. And yeah, I want to back them in to get the job done on the road. I will go 1-12, yeah. That's kind of been a theme of this season. The first for the Friday night football doubleheader, we have the Cronulla Sharks taking on the Sydney Roosters. Ins and outs, for the Sharks, we have Dale Finucane, Samuel Stonestreet, and Toby Rudolph unavailable. And for the Roosters, it's Fletcher Baker. Both teams do welcome back a couple players: Wade Graham, Oregon Galfusi, and I believe Tom Hazelton for the Sharkies. And for the Roosters, they got a couple bangers coming back: Matt Lodge and their skipper, James Tedesco. Joey Munnell moves back to center, pushing Drew Hutchison into the 14 role. Alright, so our picks. I'm going to take the Sharks on this one, coming off a bye. It is a home game for them as well, after getting pipped at home by the Warriors a few weeks ago. I'm going to back them in to have a massive game, and the Roosters, I'm just not convinced. I thought I was last week, and it's a running theme with this team these past couple seasons. They still look disjointed, and with Tedesco back, Joey Munnell in the centers, in terms of attack, they are a little disruptive, and I'll be interested to see how they work as a unit. That's always been the question with the Roosters, but yeah, I will back the underdogs in this. The Sharks to barely get by at home, so 1-12. The headliner for Friday, we have the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles hosting the Melbourne Storm at 4 Pines Park. The omissions for the Sea Eagles, we have Kyle Lawton and Ruben Garrick. Coming in for Garrick, we have Tuaimalo Vainga. Not sure I've seen this lad play, but he'll be on the wing. Still no Schuster. We got Cooper Johns in the 6, and Aaron Woods joins the interchange. As for the Storm, no Nick Meaney, so Cam Munster will be moved to fullback. Jonah Pezzett jumps into the 6 to partner Jerome Hughes. That's a pretty gun spine, not gonna lie, especially after seeing how Jonah Pezzett played in Cam Munster's absence. I want to take the away team. I want to take the Storm, the class of the Storm. That'll be my reasoning for picking them from this day forward. I mean, Cam Munster, although he's moved to fullback, he'll still be just as influential, and their forward pack, the Melbourne Storm forward pack, have steadily improved as the season progressed. I do think it'll be another close one. Yeah, you know, Manly have the players, especially in that forward pack, to rattle a few teams, and I'm not going to count them out. I'm not going to tip them, but I'm not going to count them out, especially after getting dog-walked by the Penrith Panthers last week. Back at home as well, they should lift. But yeah, give me the Storm, give me 1-12. To kick off our Saturday triple header, we have the New Zealand Warriors hosting the North Queensland Cowboys. Another rematch for the Warriors. That is so strange to see rematches this early in the season. The ins and outs for both teams: for the Warriors, Tamaito Martin and Wade Egan will be unavailable, and for the Cowboys, it's Griffin Neem. The Cowboys do welcome back Amari Ta'ulangi and Jeremiah Nanai. As for the Warriors, I believe Watene Zelezniak is back in. Oh no, he's not. He's not in the 17, but he is again on the extended bench. They do have Freddie Lussick coming in for Wade Egan, and Tohu Harris takes his spot at lock. As for my pick, I'm going to take the Wires at home. Egan's been detrimental to their attack, but I do think Freddie Lussick does alright filling in. They did move Dylan Walker to the 6. That'll be interesting, losing that spark off the bench. Who do they have for spark? Taine Tuaupiki. That's interesting. Not enough to change my mind though. I still think form-wise and just overall playstyle, the Warriors should do enough to get the win here. The Cowboys just seem, I don't know, super lethargic this season. Like their grinder of a season last year took a toll on them or something. It's weird. Cotter and Drinkwater, their second week back, they'll be players to watch this week. But yeah, like I said, I want to take the home team. If the Warriors can start well, they could very well blow them out of the park, but You just get the feeling the Cows are due for like a big game, a big statement game. But yeah, I'm going to take the Warriors, and we're going to go 1-12. The second game was Super Saturday. The Newcastle Knights host the Penrith Panthers. We won't spend much time on this one. No disrespect to the Knights, but I do think the Panthers will run up the points on the Knights. The ins and outs, Jaden Braley, he's gone for the season. Another knee injury, you hate to see that. They do welcome back Tyson Gamble though in the halves. As for the Panthers, they do have Liam Martin named in the reserve, so he'll most likely make his return. For I'd say Scott Sorensen, Lindsay Smith will most likely lose his spot on the bench. Like I said, not much time on this. I do think the Panthers get by quite comfortably. The Knights have showed grit, but grit is the Panthers' MO, and they will grind teams out. You also have Sonny Luke coming off the back of that, playing his best game of the season, I reckon, or his career last week. Like I said, they should blow them out. I am looking forward to those chirpers in the Knights though. Jackson Hastings and Tyson Gamble getting under the skin of Luai and Cleary. There should be plenty of banter this game, plenty of niggle. But yeah, give me the Panthers, give me 13+. The headliner for Saturday, we have a Queensland derby between the Gold Coast Titans and the Brisbane Broncos, this being a home game for the Gold Coast Titans. Couple big ins for the Titans, they welcome back Kieran Foran and Jojo Fifito, but I don't think Fifito will be coming back into the starting side. He should, in my opinion, for Alofiana Campahera, but time will tell. They also welcome back Kieran Foran into the halves, pushing Toby Sexton out of the 17. For the Broncos, Tom Flegler, he copped a head knock last week, so he'll be gone for that mandatory 11-day suspension, I guess. As for my pick, it's a dangerous game for the Broncos. They're coming off a humbling at home by the Canberra Raiders. And it was a much needed humbling, you know. We haven't seen them put together an 80-minute performance. Despite losing, their forward pack was still pretty decent. Payne Haas has been reminding everyone who's been the cream of the crop when it comes to the props these past, 3-4 years. He comes up against his rival in Tino Fa'asu Maliawi. That's a mouth-watering head-to-head. A couple young Queensland fullbacks going head-to-head, and Jaden Campbell and Reece Walsh. It'll be a banger. As for my pick, I do see a bounce back on the cards for the Bronx. Man, this battle between the packs in general is so exciting, but I do think the Broncos will have the upper hand on that. The puppeteering of Paddy Carrigan will most likely be the difference when it comes to moving the big boys around the park. It'll be interesting. A super close game, not really confident in my pick, but I will go for the Broncos, and we'll go 1-12. The Sunday football session, we have two games. The first being the Canberra Raiders hosting the St. George Illawarra Dragons. The obvious outs, Jordan Rapana copping their head knock last week, and Nick Kotrick makes his return back to the side. As for the Dragons, Frankie Molo and Mikaele Ravalawa, they'll be missing. Filling in for Ravalawa, we have Monga coming back into the side, and we have Zane Musgrove starting at prop. As for my pick, I'm going to take Canberra at home. I do love the battle between the forwards. You know, we saw a dominant display from the forward pack of St. George a couple weeks ago, but without Molo, who's been an absolute beast for them this season so far, I do see the Raiders out-muscling them. The battle in the halves might be the most interesting. You have Jack Whiten coming back, and he's taking on a red-hot Ben Hunt. But yeah, it should be another close game, and like I said, I'm going to go with the home team, the Canberra Raiders, 1-12. To close out the Sunday sesh, and round 7, we have the Parramatta Eels playing the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Both teams getting huge boosts. Junior Paulo comes back. Also Wanga Blake. I'm not sure if Wanga Blake was just dropped completely or if they're giving this Sean Russell a few games, but they do have him named in reserves. For the Bulldogs, finally a bit of relief. Now the biggest loss, Josh Adokar, his replacement is Braden Burns, and it's an otherwise unchanged 1-7. But the forward pack, they welcome back Devita Pangai Jr., William Kikau and Raymond Faitala Mariner. Some massive wins. They also got Jaden Ockenball returning to the bench. Is it enough though to upset the Eels at Combank Stadium? Oof, it's actually a tough pick. I'm gonna lean towards no and take the home side here, the Parramatta Eels. I'm a little surprised that Wadamu Greg got the spot over Matt Dory on the bench. I think Dory's actually been pretty impactful the times he has played for the Eels, but yeah, the inclusion of Junior Paulo, a well-rested junior, it'll be a dogfight between the forward packs. But yeah, I think the Eels just skate by. We'll take the Eels in this. We'll take it 1-12. I am really looking forward to the battle between the halves. Matt Burton coming up against a red-hot Mitchell Moses, who has the hot hand at the moment, or the hot foot. His kicking game's been on point. So to recap, we're taking the Bunnies, the Sharks, the Storm and the Warriors, the Panthers, Broncos, Raiders and the Eels. And for the bakery, we've got the Hammer, Sua'ali'i, Harry Grant, Jeremiah Nanai, Sonny Luke, David Fifita, Nick Kotrick and Mitch Moses. That's it from me. As always, leave your tips down below and I'll catch you in the next one.